For many years, state and national math standards only outlined what a child had to know, like counting to 100 or adding three-digit numbers. The new Common Core and PA Core standards also include 8 mathematical practices that serve as a blueprint of how children should learn math, like being able to model math visually and explain how they got their answers. For the Colonial School District, these mathematical practices aren't anything new. In a recent class at Conshohocken Elementary School, teacher Chris Speranza and math coach Michelle Gilbert covered the 8 mathematical practices in a lesson about rectangular arrangements known as arrays.
Congratulations, Mr. Speranza's class. You've been chosen by Mrs. Clark to help her arrange 12 chairs in the gym for a very special show. She wants each group to come up with all possible arrangements for 12 chairs.
Simply understanding the question being asked and not giving up are covered in mathematical practice number 1. Make sense of problems and persevere in solving them.
Okay, but what made you think of multiplication when you saw that?
Because it was 3 groups of 4.
Oh, so you associated an array with 3 groups of 4.
Word problems give students scenarios for using numbers. One way students demonstrate mathematical practice number 2, reasoning abstractly and quantitatively, is by taking that math back into context. In this case, it's understanding that numbers represent an arrangement of chairs. For many lessons, including the lesson on arrays, students split into small groups to work together and talk about their thinking, which is part of mathematical practice number 3, construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. After figuring out the arrays for the 12 chairs, the students were arranged in pairs and given different numbers to explore.
Can you prove to me that it's 10? There's 20 chairs.
10 in one row, another 10 in one row, and I think there's 2 in each row.
Talk to your partner about it.
I say it's 2 in each row because rows go this way, not this way.
It lets us share our answers with our partner. We both share our reasons and see which one of us is right and why.
To figure out the different arrays, students use mathematical practices 4 and 5. Mathematical practice number 4 encourages students to model mathematics visually. Constructing the answer using manipulatives, like the tiles, or drawing their answers, gives students another way to explore and understand numbers.
It was fun because I got to figure out different things that equal 24, and I also got to draw pictures to show how I figured out that it was that equation and that answer.
Mathematical practice number 5 explains how students need to be able to choose and properly use appropriate tools strategically.
We put the tiles in the squares on the paper, and then we traced it, and it helped us visualize the problem.
We're saying there's 2 rows, and there's 6 in each row, and then he called it a what? 2 by 6. And what do we call this when we say 2 by 6 again? What are we talking about? Vocabulary word.
Encouraging the proper use of vocabulary during their discussions falls under mathematical practice number 6, attend to precision.
It's an array.
My favorite thing was that we got to learn new vocabulary words, the factor, array, and dimension, and then what they mean.
When you use the vocabulary words, you want to make sure that you're using them right, so you can be precise and so everybody understands what you're saying.
In mathematical practice number 7, look for and make use of structure, students recognize patterns in the flexibility of numbers. The idea of discovery lies in the final mathematical practice, look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. By analyzing the patterns they see in mathematical practice number 7, students are able to find shortcuts and see reasoning behind the rules.
Luke was making arrays, and he had made a 12 by 2 array. And one of the coolest things that happens when you're working with students is you watch a student who's thinking and looking at their work. So he's looking at his tiles, looking at the array that he's made, and I could see the wheels are turning for him. And I said to him, Luke, what is it that you're thinking? And he said, I was just standing here looking at this array thinking, this is a 12 by 2 array, but I see a 6 by 4 array. And he said, well, I know half of 12 is 6. So if I take this 12 by 2 array and I cut it in half, and I can take this half of my array, my 6, and this half, my 6, put them together, and I'm going to get, you know, a 6 by 4 array. And that's just the coolest thing that you see. A student who is looking at something, decomposing numbers, sees patterns, making use of the structure of something, that's just amazing.
By incorporating the 8 mathematical practices, Colonial School District teachers prepare their students to be confident critical thinkers and problem solvers in the future. I'm Kim Newell, and this has been a Teachable Moment.